Hola, familia. It's so good to be here. I'm so excited to be here. I know that it's been a while, but trust me, we have been away for good reasons. Today is a special day because today is the inaugural episode for Inspired Impressions feature episode on YouTube. And the guest today is none other than my friend, somebody I'm so excited to introduce you to. He is a creator like myself, but one thing that strikes me about him is his wisdom. He knows how to explain very deep thoughts and ideas in the most ridiculously simple and common analogies. Honestly, by the end of this episode, I'm going to drop the description to his channel so that you can go and see for yourself. But based on our conversations, I'm sure you're going to also see what I'm talking about when I say that he knows how to just explain very deep thoughts in very simple ways. I'm not going to introduce him any more than I already have, because personally, I used to like people to introduce themselves by themselves. And so, with great delight in my heart, Inspired Impressions, join me and welcome my friend, a content creator as well, Mr. Alan Benedict. Alan, it's good to have you here.
It's good to be here. The pleasure is all mine.
Welcome to Inspired Impressions.
Thank
So,
you.
let me tell you how this episode came about. I'd always wanted you to be on Inspired Impressions, right? I knew that I was going to have you on Inspired Impressions. But then I didn't know when. Because, like you already know, I'm an overthinker and I think too much. But I was like, yeah, probably when I get the perfect setup, everything perfect, I'm going to get you on. And Bishop is a mutual friend of ours. I knew about Alan through my sister, but I met Alan through Bishop. And I was talking with him that day, and Bishop was like, you know what? You need to start doing long content. Jay, you need to give more. I don't want to just see you do the short content. Bishop is one of those people that pushes you to your best self and all of that. And then I said that I don't have what to talk. What will I be saying? Like, I'm used to just saying 7 minutes, 10 minutes. What will I be saying for 1 hour? Bishop said 1 hour. And then he said, why do you have to say anything? Call Alan. He said, just call Alan. Call Alan right now after this call and tell him that Alan, we're going to have a shoot. And that was exactly what I did. I just went to his DM. I said, prepare me, give me a date and time. And we're going to have an episode. And Alan did not even, he didn't even fret. He didn't ask me. He's just a very supportive person. And I was like, okay, he gave me a date and time. And we're here. Thank you so much for being here. So, to Inspired Impressions, I want you to introduce yourself to us. Who are you? What are your interests? What are your values? What would you like us to know about you?
Okay, permit me to say hola because coincidentally I begin my videos with hola as well.
Right.
So it's a thing. Yeah. So I'm Alan, and Alan Benedict, and I'm a creator as well. Storytelling, I write, make short videos, and so on and so forth. Just sharing life lessons with things I observe around. Just making it as relatable as possible. I also work in Ahmadu Bello University, and I think that's about it. Interests, videography, things like this, music. Yes,
Yeah.
I used to dance when
I can't imagine that. I did not see any video of you dancing, but it's fine.
No, that was then anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So values, well, just be a good person, whatever that means. Try not to destroy people in your process of becoming great or whatever we call it these days. So that's a summary of who Alan is. So any other thing you need to know, just ask. I will do well to answer as best as I can.
What I need to ask now is for what you said.
Okay.
You said your values is to be a good person.
Okay.
That is very direct, but also very vague.
Yeah.
Because goodness means a lot to many people.
Yeah.
So if you can expound on that, what does it mean to be a good person to you now?
Okay.
What does being a good person implies?
All right. So after that, I said try not to hurt people or pull people down on your way to achieving your goals. Let me not say greatness. Now, I think being a good person is a lot of people want to achieve a whole lot of things, and people don't really care how they go about achieving these things.
Yeah.
I was speaking to another example. I was speaking to my mechanic today, and he was telling me how someone wanted to sell an inverter to his brother for like 4 times the price. To that person now, it's just business. I made a profit of like 3x profit. But should you be making 3x profits because this person doesn't really know how much this thing costs? So he had to bring his brother down to Zaria, and they got that thing for like a fraction of the price. So being a good, nobody's perfect anyway, but you should be careful not to just pull things down just because you want to go up. Just have a conscience and try to consider people when you do your things. I think that will help us be good people.
So from what you said now,
yeah,
I would say that you're a people person. Would you say that you're a people's person?
People will say I'm a people's person, even
People
if I
say
prefer.
that you're a people's person.
Yes.
Would Alan say that Alan is a people's person?
Based on what people say, yes.
Don't try to be smart with me.
Okay.
Will Alan say that Alan is a people's person?
Yes, I would say I'm a people's person. Yeah, I think I try to relate with as much as I can, because I feel everybody you shouldn't be friends with everybody.
True.
When people come around you, try to make them feel like humans. Sometimes we just want to separate ourselves into class. Okay, I've been working for the past 10 years. You're a student. You shouldn't smile. When you see me, call me sir.
Is that a thing?
Some people do it. There was a time there was a doctor.
Yeah.
He became a prof. I wasn't aware. And
okay, like an academic doctor?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I work in a school.
Right.
And so I saw him and I told him, good afternoon, doctor. I think we were close. And he didn't even reply. He just walked by and I'm like, what happened? Then someone told me he's now a prof. I was like, oh. So I went back and told him, good afternoon, prof. And then he answered and he was smiling. So I think let's just try to relate with people. I try to do that a lot. So that's why I consider myself a people person, because you can approach me and I won't make you feel like, okay, where are you coming from? Who are you? That kind of thing. Except when I'm stressed.
Right. I get that.
Okay.
Get that.
Yeah.
And I really like your definition of what a people's person is. And, most times when they say people's person, which is true, they would refer to, being an extrovert and all of that. But I like the angle that you came from, being that what makes you a people's person is that you're considerate of people, not necessarily that you are an extroverted person. Because based on what I know about you, I wouldn't exactly call you an extrovert, except you are an introvert in front of me and an extrovert to the world. One other striking thing about you, like I said at the introduction of the episode, was that you make deep thoughts, you explain it in very relatable ways. I wanted to ask, when did this kind of learning for you begin? Is it something that do you see lessons in everything that happens to you in life? This was the mechanic yesterday. If we go over your content, it's either probably somebody you bumped into, maybe in church. It has to be something that happens to you every day. So it's every day. It didn't start as every day. You learn every day. It was something that you just started to do or started to learn after an experience or something. How did it come about?
Okay. I can't really tell when it started, because some things just be there, but until you may make a conscious effort to take note of them, you might not really notice them. So sometimes I learn these things and I keep it to myself. So until I started sharing it, I discovered, oh, okay, I might look at that and I'm like, okay, I learned something, I'll just walk away. But when I started making content, I felt, okay, someone can benefit from this thing. And then almost everything, like you said, even coming down here, I'm pretty sure when I'm going back home, my notepad is filled up. I don't even know how it happens.
Right.
I just feel people are just wired differently, and that's one way I'm wired. And I thank God for that, because making content is not easy. Sometimes I'm like, what am I going to talk about next week?
I know, right?
Yes. And before I get home, something just happens and I'm like, sometimes I even forget. I have to go back to check. So I've been that way, but it's not, probably like a few years back, I realized I could actually make something of this thing I just think about and just wave off. So I just think it's one of those things God gives to people.
Indeed. Personally, I always say this on Inspired Impressions, like the best way to make every experience count in your life, good or bad, is to learn from them. If we start to take lessons from things, we would be on the winning side. Because sometimes things just happen to you and you feel like you've lost. It's not fully you've lost. You may have lost a thing or two. But when you learn lessons, what that does, it turns your losses into, what do you call it, platforms where you can change or you can grow from them. And then in the end, your losses are no longer losses. I guess you could say something like that, right?
True.
Great. So one question for me now is about your childhood.
Okay.
I'm not asking you a broad question about your childhood, but do you have any childhood experience that, shaped the way you think, or shaped one value that you have personally? Sometimes as children, we experience a lot of things, but then there's just this one thing that can happen to you and just changes the way you see things. You may even, probably maturity for you started at that point. I have moments like that. Do you have any moment like that?
Yes, I do. Quite a few. I'm trying to figure which one.
Okay.
Okay. Let's talk about, let's say, restraint now. Okay, there was a time my dad was, I think he was driving, and then this younger guy came along, and then he just came in front of him, trying to avoid him. My dad hit his car. It was his fault. So the guy came out now, big muscles and everything, came to the car, pulled my dad out, and, was trying to get physical. And I noticed how my dad was he knew it wasn't his fault, but he just took his time to calm the guy down. My elder brother was in the car as well, and he was already going everywhere. I'm going to, that kind of thing. Yeah. So my dad just calmed everything down. And when they came back into the car, most of the time you want your dad to be the Superman. Somebody tries and just beat up the person. Yeah. And my brother was like, why did you let that guy go? He was like, there's no point. He has more to lose. That should he be fighting a young man on the street? If people come now and say a young man fighting, they won't really, but a man, elderly man with a family and everything. So I realized most times you don't have to win to win. Most people feel until they are the ones on top, they haven't won. But not fighting is a win. So I don't think I've ever gotten physical with anybody. Most times I just walk away. There's no point. You can say you are stronger. You can say whatever you want to say. But me, the win is leaving that place without exchanging words or fighting. That's a win to me. So that shaped one part of my life, because I know most guys always want to come out as the dominant male. I want to be the one that they ran away from. But someone like me, I don't mind being the person to run away. I just don't want stress, And I went to school in Uniben. It will save you a lot of troubles, because there are people who like, I won't say Uniben people like trouble, but there are people who are not afraid of trouble in that area. Yeah, so it will give you a lot of peace. Unnecessary, you don't need to prove a whole lot of point as a man. So I learned that from my dad. Always kept his cool. It wasn't like a pushover or something, but you could just tell this person was a peaceful person. Yeah. And it takes a lot of maturing to be that person, because you don't feel the need to prove that I'm stronger than the next person. So that was one little. I didn't really say anything during the whole, but I learned from that. So that is one of a few.
That's amazing. Yeah. I like how at least I'm seeing a track record of temperance, and what you preach being that a win is not always when you come up on top. But then, permit me to ask, are you always self-controlled? Like, is temperance the first thing for you that comes to mind? Don't you have times where you just want to vent, genuinely vent, and just be angry? Or are you guys wired differently?
No. Of course, there are times where you get angry, but most of the time, why I try to control myself is, first of all, for you to get angry at something or someone, you have to care about the person. If I don't care about you, I won't get angry at you. For example, if I don't care about you, do something that hurts me, I'll just walk away. Probably won't see you again or talk to you again. Really? I don't really care. Okay. But if I care about you, I'm angry because I feel you're not supposed to do whatever you did. Yeah. And the anger is that I still have to forgive you because I care about you. You get? So most times when I get to that point, it doesn't really last. Probably I just do it and that is the end. So I try not to stay angry because, like I said, I only get angry at people I care about.
You care about.
And if I care about you, I know that anger is going to be short-lived. Because after the anger, I'm going to find out how we're going to sort the issue. So of course, I get angry. But then these days, everybody looks at me like, when you have a track record of being a gentle person, there's this, people expect some things from you. I'm not saying you should do things to please people, but there's a way you have already, people know you as this kind of person. So sometimes when you want to react, you be like, let's just let it go. Because they won't expect me. You do something now and people are very funny. They'll say that one mistake, that's your real character. You can do something for 100 times and then you change for once and they'll say that once is your real character. Yes. So sometimes you look at your track record, you are angry, you want to vent, but you just say, okay, this person, let's just let it go. If they need to hear what I have to say to be better, definitely they will hear it. But it's still going to be in a loving way, and I will definitely end with telling them, okay, I'm this way because I care about you.
Yes.
If I don't care about you, I won't even bother getting angry. I will just let you be.
True.
So,
but then it's a you thing now.
Okay.
Because I'm just saying,
Okay.
people get road rage. People literally get angry at
Yeah.
you they may never ever see in their life again.
That's true.
And they are angry because they don't even know you. They don't care about you. So why would you offend me?
True.
You get, but then when I hear you say this, I'm like, okay, to be fair, it's a you thing, and I think it's a really good thing. It speaks to how much of yourself you have focused on investing in and personal development and all of those type of things, and I applaud that. I applaud that for you, because you're not just saying, I know you, I've seen you do these things. In fact, at some point, I'm part of the people that used to tell you that if you don't show these people, I'm not an angry person, don't get me wrong, but sometimes Alan on is too much. I don't feel like he lets people just, but then he's older than me, so it is what it is. I'm sure he has met more people and had life experience. You know, when you say, other people say that the thing that an older person sees on top of, like on the floor, even if a younger person, it's not that old though, that's not what I'm doing. No, but then I'm like, I guess he has seen quite enough to know that the best way to come out is to come out peaceful, right? I hope I'm not saying what is.
Well, if I can, yeah.
Yeah.
I can remember the times you told me, okay, don't take this, don't take that. There's actually truth to what you say, because one of the disadvantages of always trying to be under control is that people tend to take you for granted, want to step on you. So I think the balance which is that you must have boundaries. Okay, I'm not going to snap at you, but I'm not going to take this. So you do this, I won't snap, but something is going to, you just need to know.
Don't snap, you slap.
Yeah, something like that. So if you say this thing, like, I'm not someone to actually call people names, like insult people. I wasn't brought up that way. So probably if you're a friend or you want to be a friend and then you throw names around, I'll let you know I don't insult people though. And if you're someone that you are used to it, then the friendship has to end. I don't need to snap at you or anything, but that boundary needs to be there. So I think having self-control must go with boundaries so that people don't take you for granted.
Yeah.
And I thank you for always reminding me to set up those boundaries. So yeah, that's
okay. I guess it is all fair. Is it all fair and square or something? What's that expression? Okay, so to one particular question now is, let's talk about pressure and growing up as a young adult in this generation this time. I know that you're a content creator and your target audience, it's based on what I've seen, it cuts across many phases in life, but it's something that particularly I would personally recommend to people that are young adults and people that are in their midlife. It's a lot to learn from because of how relatable they are. So I want you to talk about what's your take on, growing up as a young adult and with just the so many things that involves growing up now and being in this generation: family, finances, peer pressure, and all the whole shebang.
okay. That's an interesting question.
Right.
So young adults are actually going through a lot of pressure because I feel it doesn't even begin with them, because for you to become an adult, you were first a child, there were parents in the scene or out of the scene, whatever the case may be. So it begins from our childhood, A lot of people are struggling now because of how they grew up, where they grew up. So you go on social media and you see a whole lot of things. Things that on a normal day, you can't even see outside. People now pick up their phones, turn on their camera, and then they talk about it as if it's normal.
Right.
And then I see them like, where is this person's father or mother? Because there is no way a parent will watch this thing and everything will still be okay. There should be problem. But it's almost as if the parents are nowhere to be found.
Right.
Because these people are just doing whatever they want online. And it's amazing. So I think before we get to the pressure of young adults now, we need to tackle the whole parental, this whole thing about parents. It's with all respect, I don't want to disrespect anybody, but I've heard oftentimes, people say, okay, as a young adult, you can make money and send money home to your parents. We all want to support our parents. We love our parents, but it's not supposed to be so. I think we've got it upside down.
Okay.
Parents are supposed to be, I'm not trying to encourage laziness. I'm not a lazy person, but parents are supposed to be parents and children. But we're getting to the point where children are becoming co-parents. Children are now taking care of their parents I'm not talking about aged parents. I'm talking about young parents, young children. And now let's look at this. Times are challenging for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, so let's assume someone's parents, they've lived 45 years, 50 years, 55. They couldn't figure this out. And then you expect someone who is 21, 22 in school to figure it out, make enough money to send home for the rent. No wonder we have people doing a whole lot of crazy stuff right now. Guys are going into fraud. Ladies are doing so many things because it's difficult to figure these things out. It's supposed to be easier when you continue from where your parents stop. Yeah. Your parents, now, like I said, it's difficult for everybody. I'm not trying to say, okay, these parents are doing well, this one's not doing. It's difficult. But when, let's say I'm a parent now, and for like 45 years of my life, I couldn't really do anything. Let's use finances now. I couldn't get a land, I couldn't get a car and everything. And then I have a son. And then I'm mounting pressure on that same son who's not as old as me, doesn't have my experience, doesn't have everything. And I expect him to now, okay, your mates are making money. Then I've had a whole lot of things, you know. I've seen people in school, I'm talking about females,
right,
200 level, getting calls from home that the rent is due, they need money. Times are hard. But imagine what that will do to that kind of lady.
Right.
You're supposed to be focused in school. Now there's this pressure of, okay, you're not just providing for yourself in school, you're not providing for your family at home. That's a problem. So a lot of young people now are carrying things they shouldn't be carrying. I know in the Western world, they tell you, okay, once you're 18 or so, you get your house, you get a job and everything. That's fine. Yeah. But in a situation where, like what we are now, everybody needs help. And the first place a young person should get help is from his home. Not from a stranger, not from one person who wants to take advantage of you. So a lot of people are doing things they shouldn't be doing because the people who were supposed to do them couldn't do them. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I feel parents need to know this. Right. And if those parents produce this kind of children, imagine what the kind of children these people will produce. Because now we have people who they don't mind how they get the money, so long as you get the money. So there are baby mamas everywhere. People don't really believe in getting married all that much. Just get a child somewhere. So it's getting worse. And it's getting worse because parenting is getting worse. So the pressure is so much because there is no, let's say, support coming from where it's supposed to come from. Right. So yes, it's quite a lot. And I need to appeal to us young people. Yeah. We need to now do more. Because if I were to use the Bible as an example now, if you notice, most of the blessings in the Bible came from one, maybe grandparents to the next. So they were just inheriting blessings. But now it's almost as if you want to go very religious, it's a generational problem. There's a problem passing down from this person to this person. Yeah. So we are all trying to solve one old problem. And most of the time it's a money problem. Right. You get? So we just need to do our best so we don't pass down the struggle to our own children.
You know that this is a very, very sensitive area or subject matter, right? And I get where you're coming from. But I want you to be very clear for context purposes, because it's very important that for messages, especially in this day and time that we're in, where everybody takes a camera and they just say what they want to say. You don't even, no basis for what you're saying. So it's very important that we put context in what we're talking about. Yeah. And in this day and time now where things are hard, and it's not just hard in Nigeria, it's hard in the world. And it's not just hard because of finances. The economy is a really big factor that is causing distress and strain in the family units, being that the family is based on social studies now, that the family is the basic unit of life, right? But what then do children do, or what do parents do? Because a parent can watch this now and say, my son, you don't know what you're talking about. My son, do you have 5 children? My son, are you treating hypertension? My son, are they calling you from there's just a lot of things. And it's one thing to state the problem, but then it's another thing to state the problem, and at least you cannot provide the solution, but then put people on the right path or the right course to at least address it in the way that you can. So for a parent that is listening to this or that will see this and doesn't have a choice, but books would always say you always have a choice. There's always going to be a choice. But For instance, a parent that thinks that they don't have a choice. And some of the parents, they're not trying to emotionally guilt trip you, and then they say things like, I know I'm not supposed to do this. I know that you're my child. I know that you're supposed to be providing for me and all of that. What do? And then the flip side, for a child that doesn't have, what does a child do when he has this pressure coming from home, and probably it's not even from a family that feels emotionally, like they're trying to guilt trip you. Some families, some people are just like that. They expect, they are entitled and all of that. And this child feels this pressure, and probably the person, the lady or the guy has already started, and it's too much on them, and they want to stop because they have listened to what you say. How do they stop this without looking like the black sheep in their family? Or how do they stop this without risking the relationship they have with their family? So both the parents and we have talked about the problem. Let's talk about a very relatable, solution or address to it now.
Okay, that's a good one. Okay, well, I think I'll begin from parents need to know that their children are not their retirement plan. It's a harsh thing to say. It's not something you just come out and say. Because you have people saying, I gave birth to you, I carried you for 9 months, I paid your school fees, and now, who is this young man, like you said? But I do not think God will give us children like our investments. Like, you build them, then later, I get the part that you're going to get old one day.
Yeah.
They're going to take care of you. But it shouldn't be that you're taking your son or your daughter to the best school so that they can make money and then pay back. It's almost feel like you don't believe that you can make it.
Yeah.
Because I'm quite young. I don't have 5 children. You get, but I don't see myself as getting to the point where I now tie my own success to my child succeeding, then coming back to pay me. I should be successful enough on my own. So even if my child is successful, they can be grateful and do whatever they want to do, but not from a standpoint of, okay, I have to pay that back. I have to give back to him. Yeah. You don't have to give me anything. Just honor out of love. It shouldn't be that, okay, he took me to school, now I have to build him a house. I should be able to build myself a house. You get? So let's begin from parents need to know that their children are not the retirement plan. Let's start from there. It's just hard. And then let's just assume now, like I said in the beginning, it took a whole lot of time for people to get to the point where they're in these problems. Let's say financial problems, health problems. It took a lot of decisions or indecisions. People don't just get to a point where they're stranded. You can be born into a poor family. I'm sure we've heard that a lot of times. The family you come from, you don't choose, but you can choose the family that comes out of you, that kind of thing. So for you to get to the point where you are stranded, it means you made a whole lot of decisions that took you there. So the first thing is to accept that I'm in this position because there are some things I didn't do properly. Is respectfully speaking is the truth. There are some things I'll start doing now or stop doing. I'm going to be broke in the future. It's automatic. I don't build myself. I don't listen. I just feel life will just happen. It doesn't happen that way. So I think parents need to get to the point where I know it's hard now, but let me take responsibility that I didn't do some things. When you get to that point, you can relate better with your children because some people pass the anger of their failure to their children. So accept. Sometimes I look at some people, I feel for them because I ask myself, what is going to stop me from ending up like this person? But I don't believe anybody you're young and then you want to grow old and suffer. Nobody wants that, but somehow they are there. And then I ask myself, what decisions did this person take to make him get to this point? And make sure I do the opposite. So parents first, let's admit that we did something wrong. That's number one. And then now number two, if let's say religious now, spiritual. As our children will not be our retirement plan, I believe in only one source. Yes, the only person that can solve my problem is God. The problems of this world, by plenty English will not solve it. That is just the truth. So when a parent shifts their focus from God, it doesn't even leave the children to their neighbor or their boss or their job. It's not going to work out. So some people they've left, they might be praying to God, hey God help me, but the God they're really praying to is their first son.
Projecting on somebody else.
It's not the best way. I won't get to the point where I think somebody's the answer. God uses people who God can use that your child.
Yeah.
But when you feel that child is the solution, it's a problem. So we need to build ourselves to know that God is our ultimate source.
Absolutely.
As parents, sometimes the children are even looking up to don't have the means to even give them back these things.
Yeah.
This is what will push them into doing funny things. So first of all, admit that you didn't do something right.
Yeah.
Secondly, your children they're not the solution. Talk to God. If you don't have a relationship with God, there's a problem. Because we need it. We all do. We get even the hardworking, smart ones now. There's a point you get to your hard work, your brains will fail. It will take God to intervene. So parents, sorry for preaching too much this evening, but go to God. If God wants to empower your children to bless you, fine. If God wants to bless you in your old age, fine. This man that owns is it KFC? That business started in his 60s, or if I'm old age, people could have given up, have failed. But he became, I think, a billionaire at 60. A lot of them. See, Jeff Bezos is not a young guy. They're all old.
Right.
You know, so parents shouldn't give up. I think that leads me to the next point. Don't give up and feel, okay, I'm too old to make things turn around. That's not true. I've seen old people on YouTube. There's this, I've forgotten his handle now. He repairs cars. This guy is all grey. And to me, he's the best mechanic I know. He makes fixing cars fun. And he's old.
Right.
You know, but he just picked up his camera one day and he went, he's making money.
Yeah.
You see, so don't feel, okay, it's over for you now. All you have to do is put a burden on your children. And then for the young adults now, I've heard a few financial experts say this, that some even jokingly say you cannot solve family problem.
What can you?
Exactly. You can't. You can't. You see, so first of all, people do some things because they love their family.
Yeah.
You know, it's difficult to hear a parent call you and tell you there's no food at home and then you ignore. It's very difficult.
True.
You know, so some people go out of their way because of that love.
Yeah.
But we need to know, and the parents need to understand, that if your child end up going astray to prove they love you, you're destroying the child. There are people who their children will bring things home to ease the pain, in quotes, and they can't really question them because they know this child cannot afford this thing. But because there's the way everything is, they are destroying the child, not them now, the whole situation, but they can't talk. So we need to know that, as young people, how do I get this money? If I can work for this money honestly, legally, and help them, fine. If I cannot, that means I cannot help them. Doing things that are fraudulent and out of character, things that can destroy, should not even be an option. It's like me saying I'm going to steal to help someone. It doesn't make any sense. I tell people, you don't do Yahoo because of hunger. Nobody needs Yahoo money to eat.
Okay.
If you hawk plantain, you have money to eat. If you cut people's hair, you feed your family. So if there's anybody watching this and feel, okay, my family is going through a lot, I'm doing Yahoo, you are greedy.
What if you want to use the Yahoo to buy the clipper?
Use the Yahoo to buy clipper? How many $1 million clipper? No. I don't think anybody wants to use Yahoo money to buy clipper.
No, because the way you said is, you don't do Yahoo because of hunger. Meaning, probably there's another reason to do Yahoo.
Yes. That's where I'm going to know.
Okay.
If you are masking the main reason, you're turning it to hunger, it's not hunger.
Okay.
I think it's greed. Because how much is clipper? You can even go to a barber shop and tell the guy, I want to learn how to barb. You know, a lot of people they don't want to bring themselves down.
Very true.
I want to learn how to barb. You learn for 4 months. No more, forget how fine you are. The finer you are, the more customers you get. There was a guy in Benedict, very handsome guy. He used to make ladies' hair. And because he's handsome, everybody wants him to touch their head. And he had so many customers. Now, it took time. But he was able to make an honest living. And he's doing okay. So nobody goes into fraud for hunger. If you are a lady and then you are hungry, it's not all those funny things that will be, all those, it's not that one. They are exactly.
Really, have you received?
But people want to hear this. You get, so don't ever feel I have to steal because there's hunger. Once you get to that point of defrauding people, stealing, selling your body, it's no more about hunger. It's about something else. It's about something else. You want to feel among, you want to drive the latest jelly. Everybody wants that.
True.
But when I started working for money, I realized to carry 30 million naira and buy a car takes a lot. Because how many people get that kind of money in a month? You get, so I tell myself a lot, I know where I work. There are some things I will never get if I focus on just this job. So we do a lot of things. We are here to provide value. At the same time, we are hoping that we get to a point where other things will start coming in.
True.
But there is no time that stealing will become an option. Because, like I said, it gets to that point, it's not about luxury, not hunger.
Yeah.
How much can we eat? You work hard as a gentleman, you will feed your family, no doubt. So parents, admit that we've done something wrong. Don't rely on your children. God is your source. He can use your children. And then I forgot to add this, communicate with your children. I'm going to share something from my own family. And I think it really taught me a lot. There was a time, like I said, I'm not insensitive to parents.
Yeah.
My dad had 7 cars. Yes, growing up, I had a basketball court in our house. So
With cars?
with cars, yes.
Like the cars form the basketball.
No, not from the basketball. it was separate, So I didn't grow up lacking. But it got to a point where from 7 to 6 to 5 to no car.
Wow.
You get. So I know what it is for parents to struggle. So they might see me talking and they say, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I've seen it. And it got to a point, my dad called I and my sister, I remember, to his room. And he said, and then he was scammed or so. He retired. And first of all, they played with the money they're supposed to pay him. Funny people, they gave him like quarter of what he's supposed to get. And then he wanted to start his own company in Port Harcourt. Those interesting people. Sold him fake land. He had already ordered the machines. So everything just went bad. So he called us and he was like, he has tried. He has provided for us, growing up. And it has gotten to the point where he doesn't know if he can do it again. I could feel it. And then we left the room. After like 10 minutes, he called us back. And he said we should forget what he said. That he's sorry. That he's going to do his best. And he did till he passed on.
Wow.
So parents should know how to relate to their children. You don't pass anger to your children. You're supposed to be the one providing. If you can't, call them, sit with them. Okay, see, you're going to school. I know I'm supposed to pay your school fees. Not you're going to school, go and learn one handwork. Or your mates are, there's a way you make these people feel. They leave the house hardened. If a parent calls a son and tell him, see, son, I know you're going to go to school. You're going to meet people that their parents might even give them car to come to school. I can't do that now because of this and that. So try your best. If there's anything you can do to support yourself, please do. I will keep on doing my best to assist you. The child goes to school with this mindset of, my father doesn't have, but he's trying. The anger is not there. A lot of young people are angry. I know how many people I have to tell, forgive your parents.
Yeah.
Because you call your parents and they are screaming at you. I don't blame them because they are frustrated as well. And they feel it's not right to tell your child you're going through a lot. You need to tell them, things are not working. I'm sorry. This is how it is. If you can do anything, fine. If you can't, please don't go out of your way. I will keep trying. It forms their mindset. But when you just push the girl out and say, go and learn how to make hair, all your mates are making hair, she goes out angry. She doesn't share. A lot of ladies now don't talk to their parents. They go into relationship, nobody knows. They do whatever they want. People don't know because where they're coming from, so nobody talks again because don't talk to them. The more space you give them, they will not ask you for money. Just allow them go. Right. So parents, when things are tough, let's learn how to relate it to our children in a way that they feel like we are one family, not that we are trying to skip responsibility. Just go and do your thing. I think that
there's one thing I want to ask. I hope you permit me to ask.
Sure.
I think I have like an idea, but I want to hear it from you so that I don't go the wrong way. You said your father did something I think is very profound, and I want to know what you think was the reason why he did it. That after he called you and told you guys that, okay, see what's happening, and then you guys went, and then he called you back and said, forget what I said. Right? I'm going to try my best. Why do you think he did that?
Calling us back or telling us?
No, why did you think he called you guys back? It was almost like he called you to correct what he had done.
Yeah. I think he did that because he had a rethink. He knows that he's father. That word, so that one we use parents, we use dad. Yeah. It's like watering down the thing, my popsy.
Father God.
Father. And what father means, Abba, is source. You remove something from his source, it's dead. Take a fish out of water, I know it's not his source, but that's where it's supposed to be. So he knew that, telling us that he has gotten to the point where he can no longer be father, in quotes, is going to affect us in no small way. So he had to call us back and tell us, see, forget, I'm still alive. I'll keep doing my job. You get? It's a different thing if, okay, people's parents pass away. That's sad. It happens. But as long as we are alive, a father is a father. You can be a responsible father or an irresponsible father, but there's no in between. So I think he called us back because he realized, okay, if I don't do this, who will? Who will? You know, it's difficult. And funny enough, if it was difficult for him, then definitely it will be difficult for me. What am I going to do? That's what parents need to know. Times are hard for you. It's harder for the children.
Right.
So if you feel, okay, I can't do it, they can do it. Why can't they? Why? You know, why should they be able to do it? You know, and times, you know, sorry to say, but I think it was easier for them. My dad used to tell me, when you're done with school, then companies come to university and they start scouting.
Yeah.
Now you are done with BSc. You come back for masters, not because you like book, but because you went out to the BSc, it did not work. You came back for masters. It's okay, maybe if I have master, you now go back. Now they discover you need a tech skill. You now drop everything and go and pay for one tech skill.
Minus the handwork that you learned.
You see, so it's getting more difficult. And parents need to know this. So we need to know what we are asking of our children. Is different. So I think he called us back because he knows, so long as he's around, it's his job to be father. Let me not say it's his job to provide money to sound somehow. It's his job to be father. So
there's so many salient points in what you have said, and I think that one profound thing that I can see from what your dad did was he put himself in a position where if he gives up, it means that you guys have given up too, right? And just like you said, he needed to restructure your mind, because some of these conditionings that happens to us, they are unconscious. You don't even know that it has happened to you. So probably as a child, you think that if Popsi give up, me myself I go, like, calm down. They scam Popsi. What is the assurance that they won't scam you? But he wanted to teach you a lesson that even when you are down, you can still walk your way back up. It's better than giving up. And that drove me back to what you were saying about parents, why you were saying that I didn't want to stop you. I think to reiterate what he said about accepting responsibilities as parents, it is very important. Then having God as your source. It's very important to know that as far as you are alive, there is always hope. Hope now in this world seems far-fetched, but sometimes hope is the only thing you need. And I would say, to add, not so that I sound like an idealistic person, is one thing that fuels hope is health. If you are alive, KFC was able to, establish at the time that he did because he had health left in him. So it's important that parents, we make decisions right now. It's never too late, but make decisions that even when you make a mistake, now this is not just parents, everybody, even when you make a mistake, but there's still provision for you to turn around. You know how probably how I'm trying to, there's an example in my head, but it's too sensitive. If I now give this example, I'm going to have a lot of clapbacks. But you are not in charge of every single mistake that you make, but ensure that you minimize the type of mistakes you have so that you can minimize the consequences. Let me just put it like that. And then for something to add to what you said about the children is that you can do all of these things. You can provide for your parents and still not honor your parents. It's very scriptural. Scripture says honor your father and your mother. Honor is not just deed. Honor is a state of heart. Honor is a disposition. So even if you provide, there are many children, I have seen them. Many people, they provide for their parents, but they hate the bitterness that they have. In fact, they do what they're doing out of bitterness, probably to show you that I don't need your money. I'm going to even buy the house for you, and don't call me. So sometimes the parents want to talk to their children, but they can't, because the children there's no form of honor. But if you keep honor in your heart, right, it doesn't matter where you are at. It would help you. It would give you the blessings of being a child. What you need to be a child is to have honor in your heart for your parents. Even if you are 60 and you're a child, as far as the honor has not been altered, that childlikeness is still there. But when you take out honor, because it's almost like you two are becoming a parent, so you don't see the need, to honor your parents. Because once your parents is doing, you two are doing that type of thing. But keep honor in your heart. And when you keep honor in your heart, you can also keep the values that they instilled in you too. Honor is like the wedge that protects you from the vices of the world. It seems too simple and very complex at the same time. But I really pray that you listening to me from wherever, and especially if this concerns you, it's a subject that is really pressing for you. I just pray that you know how so I can be saying something and you are hearing another thing that I'm saying. So I'm praying that what you hear from my mouth is something, and what you hear from what he has said is not just you understanding the context, but you understanding it in a way that brings light to your own heart, right? A lot of time has gone. Like, there's so much I want to still ask you, but I promise you, Alan is going to come back to Inspired Impressions in the nearest future. Like, I'm so excited to be here, and we have to close the curtain on today's episode, but I have two final questions for you, and it's like our Inspired Impressions question, our way of closing the door on the episode. First things is, I know you're a big supporter of Inspired Impressions, right? I know it's not, I'm not even asking me, I know. So what's your favorite Inspired Impressions episode?
Okay. I hope I don't get into trouble for this one. So
Prove me, don't shame me in front of people. I've already blown your trumpet that you are a big supporter.
okay.
Right.
Can I get like a few seconds to
Okay, no problem.
okay,
Let's have it.
let's have it. And I must get the title.
Well, you can see what it was about. You must get it. If it's your favorite episode, then you have to at least know the title.
Okay.
I'll tell you the title.
Okay. The one where you taught us
I probably just talked about.
no, you thought there was a teaching because you told us you were teaching us about
Oh, I see.
yes, opposites remains at rest. Then you gave us a two physics, talked about nothing happens except something happens to something that happens. So you actually told us you were teaching us in that episode.
Oh, I was teaching physics.
Physics.
Okay.
So can you remember the title?
I
or we are
remember
on the same boat?
Even there was the title.
So you see,
No, see,
I
guys,
think-
I can remember this title.
Good.
It's just the lights are too much.
it's been like so much. Okay. So I think I'm up the hook for that question because we both can remember the title. The lights are just too much.
Yes, I'm
but-
going to drop that episode in the description. I
Okay.
promise you, I know that title.
Okay.
It's a very recent episode, though. Are you joking? You guys should check.
No, we didn't forget.
Yeah,
It's just
we didn't
that.
forget
Yes,
the lights are too much.
exactly.
And we are still in the whole conversation about parenthood.
It's true.
Okay, yes, I get the episode that he's talking about. It was a really profound episode. I also like that episode too because I'm not trying to be defensive, but because let's not go over that episode. But it was a really great episode, and you should listen to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the final question is, what question would you have me ask you that I've not asked you? Or if I would want to rephrase it, what's one thing you'd want? What's one idea, one thought you want people to know and I did not phrase in the question to ask?
Okay, yes, I'm glad you asked this question because I was hoping I'll have a chance to say what I wanted to say.
Great.
So I think values are passed down to children from parents.
Okay.
You know, there's a whole lot of responsibilities on parents. I can't teach what I don't know. You know, so if I don't know, I can't instill those values. So as parents, we need to learn a lot. And our children will learn how to handle pressure from us. Sharp example, can I?
Yes.
Okay, so there was a time my dad was working to one company, and then
I like how you talk about your dad.
Yes,
like
he-
your dad is one of your biggest.
yes,
influences.
I think that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm grateful I had that. So he worked with a company then, and they service cars for other companies. So I think someone made a mistake and damaged somebody's car. So if they didn't deny, they were going to pay millions. So now my dad was like the manager for that department, and then they called him, everybody called him and like, you have to lie and tell them that this is how the car came. That should be a small thing for anybody to do. This is how the car came. I saved my
You
company
have to
millions.
lie.
You have to lie. This one is not, can you lie? You have to lie. So they were going to appear in court. He was going to tell them this is how the car came, and they'll take his word for it. He now called me. I was in school. He said I should pray that they want him to lie, that he doesn't know how to lie. This man couldn't sleep for weeks because he was calculating how he will lie or how he will not lie and lose the job. So after like 2 weeks or so, he called me. He was so excited. I was like, what happened? He said the owner of the car dropped the case.
Wow.
You can see lying is, people lie a lot, you know, but I learned a whole lot from that. It's something that you're saving your job. They will even clap for you in the office, hero for lying. But he couldn't lie under that kind of. We had to pray for them, and thank God, God answered the prayer, and the client dropped the case. So people learn a lot from their parents. A whole lot. I'm not saying Yahoo people learn Yahoo from their old parents, but
I didn't even go there.
but it's our job as future parents and the parents over there that we are the ones to build up these children. So I'm happy I could add this to everything we've said.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
This episode was very insightful, and thank you so much for sharing very personal experiences with us. Honestly, I want to have you as soon as possible. Let me go and jot down the next topic that we're going to talk about. But it was a really, really great learning experience and very, very relatable. So on behalf of myself and every single fan, member, follower, family, no fans here, only family members, Inspired Impressions, we want to say thank you so much for honoring us and for supporting us all the while. The things you do behind the scenes, we see you and we really appreciate. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome again to Inspired Impressions. The next time you come, I will say welcome. It's good to have you again. That's what we're going to say.
Definitely.
Like I said, family, Alan is a creator himself. What's your handle on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram?
Okay, YouTube is the Alan Benedict.
It's going to be in the description.
Yes, then Instagram is official Alan _Alan. That is SHIAL _Alan official. The main official was taken.
Okay.
By one other Alan.
All right.
So I had to
First
change
come,
the
first
spell. Exactly. Then TikTok too is official Alan. So
Right.
Yeah.
We're all going to follow you guys. Make sure you follow him. And if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. I said this is our inaugural episode. It means that we're going to have episodes like this back to back, profound episode, sharing different experiences. Inspired Impressions is all about sharing experiences that we learn from. And finally, this episode was sponsored by the one and only Lynas Design. Honestly, fam, it took a lot, but I can see that it's good. Alan, you can testify now. This episode is popping.
Okay.
And we're looking forward to having the masterpiece behind all of the designs that we have been using on our episodes and our future episode on another episode like this. She's going to come on board, but then I'm going to drop her details in the description so you can follow her and reach out to her for designs like this and even more. Thank you so much, Lina Designs, and we love you. Inspired Impressions love you. Alan, we love you on Inspired Impressions. Thank you. Muchas gracias, everybody. Adios.